Yeah, hey everybody, this is Ian from mindfulmarketplace.com. And in this video, I'm going to make a strong case, a short, strong case, but a strong case nonetheless on why I think that many of you who are building these sorts of directories, authority sites, communities, marketplaces, ought to consider launching on WooCommerce, right? Using the WooCommerce plugin for your listings, for your products, for your marketplace, rather than some of these other tools and tech and even themes and plugins that are sort of ignominious that are ubiquitously, let's call it, available around the web. So I want to give you just a really quick insight into something that just happened over the last couple of days that was a really good, strong learning lesson and reminder for us, which is the platform that we were using for the multi-vendor marketplace element of our community called Elliott. I've had conversations via email, but still conversations with the founder of Elliott dating back into 2019. I've recommended their platform. It's free, blah, 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 blah. Really cool tools and tech for building a multi-vendor marketplace. They have or had, investment funding, right? So they've raised capital and were really widely regarded in the e-commerce space up until just a couple of days ago. I'm recording this on the 2nd of July. My birthday was yesterday, the 1st of July, so I didn't do it yesterday. And they just went out of business like that quick, right? So here's their pinned tweet: "Pandemic can't stop us from cooking. June 18th, we're bringing sauce," right? Very like hypey, very hyperbolic, very sort of confident, brash marketing. I like what I've seen from these guys, and some of what I've had communication wise with Sergio, the founder of Elliott, back in the end of last year, and then it just went to pieces like that quickly, right? So here's June 30th, the end of Elliott, and now people are trying to pick up the sort of pieces of what happened and kind of do an autopsy on what went wrong. Well, the truth is, shame on me on some level for trusting a platform that was new and not really well widely tested and vetted for building an important part of our platform. Now, thankfully, like many others, we didn't actually really publish out that part of our platform yet, right? But I did spend many, many hours and many emails and many conversations with our community and clients on what we'd be able to do for them using this platform. And yep, it's all gone, right? So it's actually sort of funny that somebody in one of these videos that I'd done recently on picking the right tools and tech had made some sort of kind of, you don't know that these guys are going to be around. All these kind of emerging tool sets that I've been recommending that are innovative, not innovative because I've done anything innovative, but because they've done innovative things. Well, it's just a reminder that sometimes shit goes into the ditch and you are stuck like Chuck with what's left. And when what's left is nothing, right, it really puts all of us in a bad position. So I want to show you, or not show you, but just tell you why I think that using something like WooCommerce is a much better idea, and especially when you're just getting started. Why? Because it's not going anywhere, right? They're not going out of business. WooCommerce is everywhere, and they are owned now, I believe, by WordPress. That may not be true, but I think WooCommerce was purchased by WordPress, proper, right, automatic. So that gives you a lot of protection. And I'm just going to give you a screenshot that I just took from one of my own communities. That is a psychic community. Again, I'm not really a big fan of psychic, so I'm not really involved with this community myself, but I do still own it in name, and I have access to all the back-end analytics and so forth. And it's being run by other folks in our in my peer group, right? But I mean, this is a directory that we launched that started using this exact approach. It was built on WooCommerce. There was no, Listify or WP Manager style plugins. It just pure WooCommerce, and the product, the listings themselves are products, right? So I mean, it's future proof. It has no ability to be thrown askew by any vacillations or machinations of the marketplace in terms of you know businesses that go out of business or theme makers that crater and go south or whatever. And again, the only things any of us really care about in these sorts of sites when you're supporting clients are these things, right? Downloads. What are people doing on the site that are coming to the site? Are they downloading products, ebooks, whatever? And outbound links, right? Outbound links are how you support your members. This is how you prove your site is worthy of of signing up for, right? So if you look at our just last 28 days, this is June 5th, and today is July 2nd. It's not a huge volume site. It's 12,208 visitors, but out of those 12,000 people, 1,179 clicked on a link, or I mean, it's not completely mathematically true, but it's close, right? So you have roughly 10% of the unique visitors or who did the following actions, right? One of the actions was clicking on a Woo product, generally a WooCommerce product, and visiting the person who's on the site, which gives them a lot of value. And it gives us a lot of value to sell. And again, it's not tremendous traffic. It's 12,208 uniques over the course of 28 days. That's certainly not the best that we've done. We've done far better than that. But it's not really a site that I care about or am promoting in any way because I don't really believe necessarily in psychic mediums. So it's just a site that I started years ago that is part of a package of platforms that I outsource to another agency that pays me monthly for that access that they run, but I own, right? And we split whatever we split, which is not really relevant for this conversation. But the whole thing is built on WooCommerce, right? And you can do the same thing. And we didn't plan on keeping it just on WooCommerce. We thought eventually when it would be, migrated to a different plugin package or a more upgraded, theme or whatever. But it just wasn't necessary. And I would, whenever I think to myself about the mistakes that I've made in this business, it's almost always in the area of overcomplicating things with two themes that are new and bright and shiny and fancy, or ideas or plugins or tools or tech that I need to learn to actually implement. And then ultimately it doesn't do anything it's not more profitable or more fun or more appealing or attractive, to our audience, both the public audience who's visiting the site and the professionals who are peers that you want to attract to become listings or members or, marketplace vendors, etc. It's always the simplest path that seems to be the one that is most, worth sort of doing, right? So I'm also reminded of just recently, the same thing became true with the Listify theme and Jobify and all of the and Vendify, all of those themes that were owned by Astoundify, right? I mean, I didn't know those guys either, but I had some little basic relationship with Adam Pickering, the email, and the one of the two founders of Astoundify, but they sold that platform. And essentially what all of us ended up with who had bought all those themes and the plugins, et cetera, was a new owner. And this new owner is really not doing squat to support the themes, right? They're not really updating stuff. They aren't really investing, at least in the appearance that they're communicating with their previous customers. I mean, they a little bit, but not much for my taste, right? And every 5 days there's an update. There's a reply on Theme Forest from a comment or a problem. It's just not trustworthy, right? And I think when you make those investments, I mean, so people who just bought Vendify, in August or September of 2019. I think Soundify sold that business to another theme shop like 3 months later. So all those initial promises, and I had conversations with Adam Pickering via email, that things that he told me were coming. Well, guess what? They didn't come. They haven't come because there's now a new owner of that, of that theme and all the plugins that are associated with it. So my recommendation is, if you're struggling to get one of these sorts of sites off the ground, use WooCommerce and use the external product type. It's very easy to do. You just set the product to link to an external URL, external resource, and that external resource is going to be your member's site, right? Or something they're selling, or their products, or their ebooks, or their, their website. And it's really easy to sell to people, like when you're promoting it that way. It's super future proof to build. You're not going to ever have this sort of problem like I just had with Elliot, like all these other people had with Elliot. And I'm also embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that I've recommended this platform to all my partners and peers, people I've spent countless hours on the phone with, selling them on this really exciting idea of a Stripe-enabled e-commerce platform that would pay them for their products, that would handle the shipping for them, all these other things, all built on the back of a platform that literally just went out of business like that quick. I mean, literally that quick. It went from they're delaying their shipping, the product launch, which I already had access to anyway, so it didn't really matter to me. Right? So I was already using their product, but the public wasn't yet. And then it just never came. It was supposed to be June 18th. They delayed it, and then 10 days later, they're done. Right? The founder, who I had a little bit of email correspondence with, quit. Right? Just walked out. So anyway, people are crazy. You have no idea what's going on in people's lives. Maybe they're not crazy. Maybe they're just overwhelmed and dealing with difficult things that none of us are aware of, as are we all. So and you got to protect yourself from that happening. And I see a lot of people who are building these sites with plugins and themes that are generally, we think that the people who have created these products are not living in their parents' basements, and you have no idea like what's really going on. And people change careers and they do all sorts of things that can impact you if everything that you've invested in the future of your platform is in sort of products, tools, and tech that you don't know are going to be around in 6 months, let alone 6 years. So anyway, hope that's been a little bit helpful. Use WooCommerce, right? And you don't need anything fancy. You don't need anything sophisticated. You just need a WordPress-based, site that has the ability to link out, right, and to feature products and programs that your members can promote on your platform. And this is just one example of many that I could show you. A small site that does well, that's profitable, that requires very little upkeep. I don't do anything for it, and neither really do the people who are involved, with running this day to day. Okie doke. Hope that's somewhat helpful. I'm not sure if it is or it's just me ranting, but nonetheless, there you have it. Thanks.